You're the owner of Lost Brewery.
Yeah, Lost Spring Brewing Company in downtown Ocean Springs. So
when did you guys open?
We are probably one of the youngest businesses in town at this point, I imagine. Still, we opened up in November, so we're not even rocking 6 months yet. But we've been out there since probably May of last year, building the place out. We did most of the work ourselves because, we like to save money where we can and make it our own.
Where does the name come from?
So I grew up down here, and one thing that I didn't honestly know until I moved back was that there's like springs in Ocean Springs.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a bunch of people right when I moved back about what I wanted to do, what I was looking for. And one of my friends was actually like, "Oh man, well one of those springs is on my property," and I was like, "All right, like let me see it. I don't know what you're talking about, where it's at, anything." And we drive up, and there's literally just like. I mean, today you wouldn't call it a spring, right? It's it's just kind of like some groundwater seepage. But I go up to it and I was like, "Man, where's the spring at?" It's like lost in the yard or something. He was like, "Yeah, it's the Lost Spring," and I was like, "No, I'm stealing that right now.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll put my name on paper. I'll pay you royalties, whatever you want." So
that's a good story. I like that.
And where did you move back from?
Yeah, that's
so I was up in northern Colorado for the last 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
Up in Fort Collins.
What took you up there?
Brewing beer, man. I started as a home brewer down here in Ocean Springs back when I was a whole 15 years old.
Oh, I like where your head's at, man.
Oh, yeah, man. I was like, man, y'all buying fake IDs. I'm just going to start making my own.
Man, very industrious,
Got into it and, like, just absolutely fell in love with it. Like, literally second or third batch I ever brewed, I was like, I think this is what I want to do with my life.
What about it? Like, what did you connect with?
I mean, it's such a cool mixture, brewing beer, of art, science, all of the patience you can gather.
Yeah.
Because we're not working on like a time scale like any of these restaurants or bars. Like we're brewing beer that we're gonna sell a month, 2 months out. And so like for the first probably 6 batches, I remember I would check on them every single day. Like open it up, smell it, taste it, whatever. And then, you gradually get more into it, but it's taught me a lot about patience in the end of the day. And, I've chilled out a lot since then, but honestly, just the mixture. Like I grew up as one of those science geeks that was always just looking for a little engineering project on the weekends. And one day I came across this article online, like how to make your own sodas at home. So I started doing that, and they were lacto fermented. So we'd take yogurt whey, put it into whatever we wanted. Usually we'd do ginger or a strawberry rhubarb base, ferment it with yogurt, and then you get like a fizzy soda out of it.
That's the gateway right there is yogurt.
Oh yeah, right.
And then you're brewing beer.
It only really took probably 2 batches of soda for me to realize like, oh, if I just put yeast in this, I've got wine or beer or whatever. So I started buying brewer's yeast on Amazon for like $3 a packet, and I'm just like rocking out little 10 bottles at a time. I'd brew it, set it for 2 weeks, bottle it, set it for another 2 weeks, pop one open, start another batch. Like just kept going with it. And, like, obviously I wasn't distributing to anyone underage because that would be...
Why would you do that?
No, why would I do that? But no, I mean, it was a great thing, around my little neighborhood. Everyone would come out and try whatever I had pouring that week. And just from that point on, like I said, I was hooked.
Can I tell you my underage distribution story?
I want to hear it.
So, true story. So my first job at 14, I worked at Broom's gas station, and I was a stock boy.
Yeah, I did.
No way.
I worked at Brooms.
Right. Good. So what I would do to make more money, I would have to take the boxes out by the dumpster, and so people found out that they could buy beer off of me, and so I would charge them twice the price, and I would put beer in a shopping cart and put boxes that I'd take out to the trash. They'd have to pay me half up front, and then I would put the beer by the dumpster behind us, say, pick it up at 7 p.m. and they would come by and pick it up. So
Man.
You're a mastermind, an evil genius.
Evil genius.
Look, as long as the outcome is income, okay?
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
I like it.
You gotta make
the
some money.
stupid things you do as a kid.
But the question is, what did you do with that money?
What's that?
What did you do with?
I don't have to answer that.
Okay.
I don't have. I'm not. I don't have to do that.
Plead the fifth, always.
Yeah, you're a minor then, so I mean, it's off the record. record.
Yeah, I think so. God. I
So,
hope that's
so
the
tell
case.
us about the festival, because I mean, it seems like there's a ton of people down there, a lot of good
Oh, yeah.
energy and,
No,
and
I mean,
music.
I could not have asked for a better turnout in any way, shape, or form. It's been just the most immaculate weather we've had all month. We had people starting off, so the first band went on at 10:30. We had people coming up and buying beers that early and just sitting out in the parking lot. We had a little jazz trio come up. The idea for the festival all came around like pretty much right after we opened the place. And, so as a small business, it's just opening in a town like this where there's, 15 bars downtown and one pops up every other week. It's like, how do you get your name out there?
Right.
So we really started planning this festival like probably like by the end of November after we opened on November 5th. Got through Peter Anderson and all that, and we're like, oh, that was fun, but let's do it our own style this way.
Yeah.
And one thing that we've always been really big about over there is we call ourselves a brewery and community tap room.
Okay.
And for me, that means that like our first and foremost goal is to brew beer and to have new, exciting local beers on tap. But the second thing is to build a place that a community can come in, enjoy themselves, meet new people, spread the word. We can get artists out there. We can get musicians out there,
Yeah.
Really just blow it up as much as we can. It's not all about us. It's about this town. It's a sweet town to live
I love
in.
it.
So, I mean, that was kind of the inspiration behind it. And we've been just going after it for months and months now, contacting artists, contacting musicians, getting stages built, doing all this stuff. And it all culminated this morning with just a great turnout. And like, I felt the most support from this community since we opened our doors, and like today was a perfect example of that.
That's awesome.
Well,
That's
Cynthia
awesome.
is just gleaming over there. She's in her element, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So what you said you were doing
Right.
tacos over there, right?
Yeah, so it's pretty new,
And they were pretty good from what I
would
said.
say awesome. It kind of debuted with this,
Yeah,
even though
yeah.
it started kind of this week. A friend of his, well,
Martine.
I don't know who's doing it, but Martine is running a taco bar. So they have a patio outside where, like you said, the community can just gather and hang out. So now there's a taco station built out there on the patio, and he's going to do tacos, sometimes throughout the week. So right now he's doing tacos for the event. He's doing steak, chicken, pork, tacos, and with your recipes.
Beef birria, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so one thing that like I grew up when I wasn't brewing beer, I basically grew up working in kitchens. And always just loved food. My parents thought I was going to be a chef when I was like 7 years old because I'd be up there helping my mom cook. She's a huge cook, does gumbo from scratch like once
Nice.
or twice a month,
Yeah.
and just really got into it. But for some reason, like I've just always been drawn to tacos. I think they're an awesome communal food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have big taco parties at my house usually where I'll have 30 or 40 people come over, and we literally just make as many tortillas and as much protein as we can, and we just sit there, no plates, just like grab
Just
a
dig it
tortilla,
in.
wrap it, go in on it, and
Beautiful.
share a good time with some friends. So like I met Martine and Daniel Brajas, who's he runs the beer house over at Mosaic.
Yeah.
And helps me brew some of the beer in the back. So all three of us are just like absolutely obsessed with tacos. So we're like, dude, this is the next logical step. Like we
Beer
want
and
people to
tacos,
hang
I
out
mean-
more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like how could you go
Exactly.
wrong?
I'm concerned if you're not obsessed with tacos, and I don't know if you guys have realized, like, Mexican food is arguably a conspiracy, right? So
Yeah,
like
down here.
No, seriously, because like, what is a taco? Tortilla with meat, cheese, and vegetables, right?
Right.
What's a burrito? Tortilla with meat, cheese, and vegetables. Nachos, tortilla with meat, cheese, and vegetables. It's like you go to a restaurant, say a Mexican word, and they bring you the same thing, just in a slightly different variety.
Well, I
you know
guess
what I
that's
mean?
where you can add your creativity to it, depending on how you dress it up, right?
Oh,
And
sure,
it's probably
sure.
the same thing with beer, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's
So-
the fun thing about both of them, like I've always been amazed like how many places down here will have consistent but not really changing options for like years. Like you'll go into a place and you're like, this is the same menu they had 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But one thing that I love to do is like, but one of the things that I love to do and like what brought me into the industry as a whole is just creating new things. So we have 4 beers on tap at the brewery that stay on tap, and the other 4 taps just rotate out every week, right? So we
Nice.
have, we use all fresh fruit. So if we're doing a fruited beer, it's just whatever's in season, whatever I can get my hands on. Same thing with the tacos, right? It's like this week maybe chicken, carne asada, and pork, but we really want to throw some cool things on there, like do some lengua tacos, change it
Yes.
up, do some vegetarian options for all the
Yes.
people out here in Ocean Springs that are eating that way, and
We've
just
had
keep it fun and keep
a
it.
few people ask for vegetarian tacos.
I know.
Was
I know.
that's what you asked for, right?
Well, that's what I asked for, but he put chicken on it, and it was delicious, and I ate it.
Cynthia, what is it about this community, and I'm sure you've got a lot of involvement in this because you seem to be the person, the locomotive to make these things happen. What is it about this community that makes it so accessible for a new business to think that they can come out and put on a festival like this?
Well, I think it's because we're known as a festival town, so it's kind of like that's our forte. That's what
Okay.
we know how to do.
Is it almost an obligation to start a business here? Okay, it's time. It's kind
I
of like
think
it's your
so.
turn to do the block party. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I
think-
grew up going to block parties every week in my neighborhood, and different house every week, and that's how
Yeah.
it should be down here. Like,
Okay.
It's a similar vibe.
yeah.
Similar vibe.
That's what
I
I
respect
think
it.
that when people just come here, we're just known as a festival town, so it's just kind of part of the culture. So it's just gonna naturally happen, like what you were
yeah.
doing,
Yeah, no, exactly.
I think that's on brand for you as well because I think it's like you're out here, you're part of it. You know what I mean? And so when people come to you to put these things on, they know they're going to get a good product at the end of it if you're involved because you're out here not just putting it together and going to do something else. You're living it. You're showing people, giving permission to people. This is how you enjoy this damn thing. This is how we festival in Ocean Springs, and I think that's fantastic that the city has an asset like you for that.
Thank you. Well, I didn't have anything to do with this. I just decided to work the taco bar. 'cause I
Oh,
love
fair
tacos.
enough. Well, still,
Yeah,
But
okay.
we promoted it.
My bad. Yeah. Well,
And we'll
But
help
all-
Nolan
yeah,
in any
exactly.
way possible.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's the
brainstorm
awesome
and
thing,
grow.
right?
We were already talking some ideas.
Okay,
Yeah.
got
We
it.
were
got
already
it.
talking that.
So this
today.
isn't an official chamber event then.
No, not at all.
No.
No.
This is
no.
all
it's
Lost
all
Springs
Lost
Brewing
Springs.
Company,
All
yeah.
Lost
Very
Springs.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
I just like to come here. I'll just like to come to Lost Springs, and then when I heard one of my friends was running the taco bar with Nolan, I had to say, okay, I have to be there.
understood.
So is there anything? I mean, obviously you want to. So you just say you want to try to do it some more, do it annually.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Lost Fest is definitely going to be an annual event.
Yeah.
We have had more than enough interest in making it almost like a monthly to maybe quarterly event that I
Okay.
think that might be coming soon. Even if we just call it like Lost Springs Block Party,
Might as
just
well.
like I said, there's so many local artists around here in
Yeah.
every direction. We had people out there painting longboards earlier, people doing pottery, people doing fabrics and shirts and stuff,
Yeah.
and then between all the musicians, I mean, there's just too much happening down here to not show it off, right?
Absolutely.
And where did the
Absolutely.
musicians come from? Because you have a really cool variety that I don't always see here in Ocean Springs.
Yeah. So almost everybody except for the headliner, Raylan Nelson, is from Mississippi. Some of the guys are from Jackson. A few of them are from Hattiesburg. Simone French, she tours everywhere from New Orleans to Mobile all the time. And we love her, love seeing her come by. But that was definitely the focus of the event, was like, we can get a headliner in from out of town. And that was like a complete spree of the moment. We were like, wait, Willie Nelson's granddaughter's in town? Hit her up and see if she'll come play.
That's
And she was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So that's like where that came from. But everyone else is like I said, locally made, and we're just out here trying to support them. So
Beautiful.
give them a platform.
Is there anything that you're seeing that that you're already noticing that you want to either change or do a little bit different?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, not really.
Good.
Like
That's-
I think, like,
So you just
like I
nailed
said,
it right
I
out the
couldn't
gate.
have asked
Kind
for
of like the
anything better.
15-year-old menu.
Yeah.
It's not. We're not going to change it.
Yeah.
It works.
No, I
Hey,
mean,
if it ain't broke.
Literally, like, we'll get some new artists in, and like I said, maybe roll with it again in a couple of months. But like for everything that went into it, we literally couldn't have asked for a better event. Like the whole town showed up at some point in the day. We had people in and out. Everyone stayed really calm, having a good time. They're gonna be having a good time until about 11 o'clock and wrap it up, and can't ask for anything. Like the
Yeah.
Lost Spring whole concept just fits so well. You got get
Yeah.
lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
So many more. I mean, it's just awesome. And like, we really wanted to make it a vibe. One of the things when we were building the place out was like, we wanted to make it somewhere that like Ocean Springs hasn't seen yet, right? And I think we succeeded in that fully. It's a quirky little bar. You walk up and you're not really sure what you're getting into. But then as soon as people see, the bar back there, they see the tanks in the back with beer brewing in them every day, and it's just like, you don't want to leave.
Yeah, I love this idea of getting lost, and that should be something that you want to do, because I think, I mean, not to get too meta here, but I mean,
go for it.
Because when you get lost, you obviously have to find something. You know? Like if you're willing to get lost, then you're willing to forego what you know to find what you didn't know, or maybe what you need to know, right? And so, what about getting lost allows people to reemerge better?
No, yeah, completely. I mean, like, so it's like one of my favorite things about it, right, is getting lost in an environment that you don't feel lost in, right? Like, you could look up and not have a clue where you are or what you're doing, but as long as you're around good people, around good community, with good beer flowing, like, you
can
don't
somehow
feel
find yourself
lost, right?
while
Yeah,
you're lost.
exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So what was the so you were brewing in Fort Collins? You
Yeah,
said?
yeah.
How was that? I spent about a month in Colorado, around the Loveland area.
Okay,
so
yeah.
about,
So I was just north of you, like
yeah.
maybe 45 minutes, 30 minutes north of you.
Yeah, and I love going to Fort Collins. It's such a beautiful town.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and,
it was incredible.
So talk to it, and I would Ocean Springs has a similar vibe. I mean,
yeah, no, I told people up there all the time, like, Ocean Springs, like where I'm from, is just like Fort Collins, but scaled back, 10 times.
Yeah,
there's like
with no college.
200,000 people up there. Yeah, and the college is a big part of that. But if you walk down Main Street, Fort Collins, and you walk down Government Street at the right time, it's very similar, like very, very similar. And everyone is just trying to do the best they can. There's so much innovation coming out of that town and so many cool things. There's breweries popping up every month. There's new restaurants pushing the edge of cuisine. So that's kind of where I got the inspiration for coming back and starting a place like this, right? But one thing that I always missed when I was up there was like the community that was down here. I missed the water. I missed the warm weather.
Yeah.
And now that I'm back, I'm
The
just
humidity.
like, man, I don't think I'll leave again. I love humidity.
Yeah.
I'll tell anybody, as soon as I get off that plane, I'm like, oh, that hug.
Yeah, that's a convenient position to take this time of year.
Hey,
let's
come talk to me in
let's-
2 months, man. I'll be out
Let's wait
there.
till July rolls around.
hop back in the cellar when there's like 180-degree water flying everywhere, and you'll feel humidity.
Because I remember that. Yeah, because when I was in Colorado, like just in the morning times, I'd wake up and I'm like, I can't get any air in my lungs. Like it's just so.
Oh, yeah.
And coming back here, it made me appreciate humidity more.
No, yeah. It feels like there's something you're breathing in, right?
Yeah.
There's some weight to it.
So I'm curious how the regulatory atmosphere and just the hoops and different stuff you had to deal with in Colorado related to brewing had to do with Mississippi, because we recently, alcohol laws need to be loosened up in this state.
Yeah,
but
it's on its way, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I started brewing professionally here when I was 17 years old at Crooked Letter Brewing, and I'll never forget, we couldn't sell a beer in our tap room. We could sell you a ticket to go on a tour where they could give
I
you
remember this.
2
Yeah.
6-ounce pours of beer for $10 for a $10 ticket for your tour. And that was it. So it was like getting your name out there was like impossible unless you
Right.
really put on a show and dumped a bunch of money into these like tour days where you're just taking losses because you're selling $10 tickets for tours.
Yeah.
And then you're hoping that those people had such a good time that they go to the grocery store and buy your beer at like no margins.
Yeah.
So I told people back then, like, I'll move back to Ocean Springs and start a brewery when they change the laws and they allow tap rooms and they loosen up on us to make it like a feasible business model. And about 2 or 3 years ago, they finally changed it over. Chandelier obviously got a big bump from that. We've seen a lot of breweries come along since then. Fly Llama,
Yep.
Craft Advisory right over here. But I mean, literally, when I started brewing down here, like, none of this was allowed. We were like, it was just a weird vibe. You were back in the cellar all day by yourself. You never saw anybody drink your beer. I mean, it was still fun, but like, for what I do today, where I brew beer and literally walk out front and see people enjoying it, like that's a cool feeling that you don't get from that like distribution sales model, you know?
You
that
know,
does sound cool.
craft beer has a really interesting phenomena that's so community oriented. Like if you open a small brewery, and it's kind of a universal thing. I mean, I think of being in Germany and the beer gardens that are everywhere. It's such a social thing, you know what I mean? And and it's different than, say, the Budweiser, Anheuser-Busch, or Milwaukee's Best, PBR, whatever your domestic beers are. But what is it about the craft brewing experience that's so native to craft brewing?
I mean, like you said, it's just like such a communal thing on the consumer side and on the brewer side. So like one of the things that really pulled me into the industry was like going in so young and realizing like instantly you meet brewers from all over the place, and like any brewer knows that a brewery runs on like basically like 2 or 3 people's backs, and they're only doing it because of like the love of beer. Like none of us are paying ourselves $1 million salary. Right? Yeah. None of us are like making a shitload of money, but like we do it because like it's the only, after you do it for so long, it's the only thing you can imagine doing. And like I said, like all these new breweries around, and all of us are hanging out. Like I go over and wash kegs at Fly Llama, and they sell me grain when I need it. You know, no one's like, oh man, fuck you. Like y'all are our competitor, I'm not going to help you. It's just like all of us are working together to kind of spread the word and spread the vibe of just community and craft beer, you know?
That's awesome.
You beat that?
I had a conversation with somebody yesterday where I asked, do you think that people's sentiment or their feeling gets passed on through food? Like, so if you're somewhere and that person is angry while they're making food, can you taste that in the food? Mm-hmm. And I wonder if there's an aspect of...
I feel that 100%, man. Like,
putting your energy into it.
Because we're like, so we're so small over at the brewery that we really run with like, basically, we'll have 8 kegs on tap. We'll have 2 kegs behind each of those kegs. And other than that, everything's in the tanks in the back. So, like, really, we're releasing new batches every single week. Even if it's a beer that's been on since we opened, there's a new batch of it coming out every week.
I like it.
And, I mean, there's weeks where, like, I don't know, honestly, if I'm just, like, pissed off and I'm tasting and I'm like, this is bad, this is not good, or what. But, like, there's some weeks where, like, everything goes smoothly, and at the end of the week, you sit down and have a pint of whatever your favorite is. Like, honestly, the Pale Ale, $16.99, obviously an homage to the town, but like one of my favorite beers I've ever made. And I'll sit down on a Friday and just have an entire pint and taste that like week to week difference of like,
That's cool.
I mean, like this week, you know, everything went well. We really killed it. We were patient. The yeast was patient. We all worked together and got a good product out of it.
Got an idea. A Genesis tasting.
Genesis tasting.
And so I just came up with this. Copyright it, okay?
All right.
But start out your first batch. Your the things you got wrong, you know, your techniques, your impatience, and start like maybe your first 8 batches over the course of how many years? Like, how did it change? And so do a tasting where you start off with like that first batch that was real sloppy, whatever.
Yeah.
Use those same techniques and see if you can recreate it and see if you can taste the difference in the beer.
Like the evolution?
As it's exactly. As it's
and that's also the fun of like brewing, honestly. It's like the nerdiest thing in the world, but like everyone thinks of brewers like, oh, we're just guys that like making beer and like getting drunk. But like honest to God, most of it is just
you can get it really wrong.
Yeah, but most of it to us is literally just nailing numbers. Like, so I have like every brew that I do from start to finish until it's in a keg and sold has like 2 pages of notes behind it. Mm-hmm. And there's probably 15 variables in those notes that are like numbers that I'm trying to hit 13.5 Plato to start, 2.5 Plato to end, 5.25 ABV, 4.7 pH. And like you're literally every single batch is testing all that stuff.
Yeah.
And like when it all lines up, it's just like the best feeling ever. Like everyone's like, oh, you're making money. I'm like, dude, no, I'm crushing numbers. That's all I'm doing. Like I'm hitting my numbers, hitting my points. People are drinking it. That's all that matters.
It reminds me, honestly, a lot to hear you talking about the industry, because I've been working with these cannabis companies coming in, and it reminds me a lot of that, of just working together and kind of putting and experimenting and putting, your art into it. And with the cannabis industry, unfortunately being, illegal and having a gray area, there is a bit of community.
Definitely.
And people working together because we can't rely on the government or anything such as that. So that's really cool to hear you talk about that.
Like, honestly, what's funny is like, there's not only like a big parallel, but like in places where it's like fully legalized, like in Colorado where I was living, like any of me or my brewer friends were just as likely to be found like helping out grower friends trimming and stuff, like because it's like we're both just working towards putting out a quality product that like we have our hearts in and we know what goes into that, right? So it's like, dude, you're doing the same thing. You can't pay people. I understand that. I'll come help you trim for the week, like knock out a few hours. Everybody helps out. It's a big party. I'll bring some beer. You bring some That's whatever. Fantastic. And it's just a good time,
I feel like we're seeing more of that these days of, it seems like, how can I explain it? Like commerce is becoming more,
decentralized network.
Well, and
a lot of
right?
networking.
Like like the big shift from like macro brews to micro brews has been like shown not just in our industry. Obviously, the craft brewery boom of the last like 10 years has been crazy to watch. We went from about 1,000 breweries in the U.S. to like over 7,000 today. But it's not just beer, right? Like you're seeing people that are out there blowing up their pottery brands and blowing up, you know, their cannabis brands and soda brands. Like everything is artisanal and everyone's putting their hearts into their products. And it's not as much just a, hey, let's try to blow it up and make as much money as we can. Like, let's put out something that we're proud of. And like, that's an awesome movement to be a part of.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a high barrier to entry, you know, to be successful. You know, like it's fascinating that you are successful. I mean, frankly, the odds are against you.
No, yeah.
You know, and so the idea that you can come back here and decide that you're just going to start a brewery and it's going to be successful, I think is a strong testament to you and your ambition and your industrious nature and your tenacity to make it happen, man. I mean, so cheers to you.
And you got the stamp of approval from the chamber director, so that's always good. I mean, if there's anybody that knows festivals, it's Cynthia.
Oh yeah.
And you can just hear from the way Nolan's talking. He's an artist with his own way of everything that he's doing, and that's what Ocean Springs loves. We love entrepreneurs. We love artists.
Oh yeah.
And it's really cool that he's just kind of expressing and showing that type of art.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So what's next for you? Are you going to scale up? You're going to try and...
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I really want to keep this like tap brew model for as far as I can and expand that to like its brink. And one day, you know, we'll get into stores and start distributing. But like for now, like I said, it's all about for me just like making good beer, seeing people enjoy it in the tap room, seeing people come out, putting on cool events like this. Like that's the side that I want to expand. And then, you know, once everyone knows the name Mississippi Hippie in 1699, we'll start putting it in grocery stores and seeing who buys it.
I love that, man.
So how many beers do y'all have now? Oh, first, do y'all have what kind? So do you have any IPAs?
So we do
seltzers?
8 beers on tap at a time. We only have 8 taps. That probably won't change, to be honest, because I like that number. You know, we can keep a good range across the board. But for example, like pouring right now at the brewery, I have our 1699 Pale Ale. I have our Mississippi Hippie New England IPA. I have our Rye Dyed Imperial Rye IPA. Our Porter, which is a Mississippi Molasses Porter. Those are our 4 main brands that stay on pretty much throughout the year. On top of that, I have a lemon meringue sour made with fresh lemon juice and whole vanilla beans. I have a grilled orange sour that I'm sipping on right now. Tastes like Sunny D with some grill marks on it. Delicious.
How do you?
I might have to get one of those.
How do you get that grilled flavor? How do you?
Oh
yeah, sorry.
Proprietary information.
Sorry, my B. Well, here, make it up. Sell me on it.
Sell you on it?
Yeah. What is it?
Fresh oranges, 15 pounds. Cross section it. Literally put it directly on a hot ass grill. Get a little caramelization on both sides, and then after that, it's all about cellar work. We just let the beer do its thing, extract those flavors. Sat in total for about a month on the oranges, and then we strain it off and get it ready for packaging.
Really wasn't difficult to give away a trade secret there.
Hey, if anyone wants to try to copy me, they're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate
he had to
that.
twist his arm. So Cynthia, which is your favorite?
Well, I mean, honestly, in addition to the beers, he also has, you know, a
full-on cocktail bar.
Yes.
Okay. So you just stick with the cocktails?
Yes, I'm partial to the margaritas. I did taste the different beers. I don't know which ones I tasted today.
Hey, that's okay.
So I tasted different ones. There was one that, I don't know, they all kind of taste different, but I don't know which one that I liked the best. It was like it was kind of fruity-ish.
Yeah.
The one that I liked
So we had a raspberry
today.
saison on, made with fresh raspberries in my house Belgian culture. We had a strawberry stout on that was, again, like a vanilla stout that we pushed on to a ridiculous amount of fresh cut Louisiana strawberries.
Fruit stouts are so odd to me because stout is such a heavy drink and fruits just seem so light.
Yeah.
You know, which is maybe
why
why it works.
Mix, it's like, I mean, this thing tastes like you're biting into a chocolate covered strawberry that happens to be 8% ABV.
Wow.
I personally don't really like it, a lot of the taste of just beer. So when you add flavors like that, I think it's really creative. So I love going there and just be like, okay, what's out there today? And just to taste the different flavor, because like I said, I don't like regular beer, so it has to have like a flavor or something to it. And I know when I go there, I'm going to find something.
See, I'm a creature of habit when it comes to drinking, so I've had to rely. Like a lot of my friends will go and try all. I'm sure they'll love the fact that you're on here and we're talking about it. But they have to be the ones because they know what I like. So they'll try all the beers. And be like, okay, I know what you like. You can try this. So that's usually how I get connected. But the Fly Llama is actually their seltzers. I've been.
Oh yeah, their seltzers are killer. And I just I'm not like too heavy into the seltzer game. Mainly because like I missed out on it like 6 years ago. This girl I was dating was like, hey, I know you brew beer, but like get in on these seltzers. They're going to be the next big thing. And I basically told her to go fuck herself. The craft beer thing was going to be it. And now when I look at the margins on my seltzers, I'm like, God bless. I should have just turned my life around and just started pumping out seltzers, man. But we do seltzers at the brewery with all fresh fruit, and we use honeysuckle, locally made vodka, and have fun with it. We come out with a new flavor every few months. Just another thing, like always trying to put out something new and work with whatever we can.
And so, I like that it's an open air bar.
Oh yeah.
It has a patio where you can just hang out, or you can just go sit at the bar. Like here in coastal Mississippi, why not be outside all the time?
Right.
And I love that.
Yeah.
So I think kind of my go-to like standard beer of domestic at least would be Yingling. So like what would be the closest if someone came in and said Yingling's my beer, what would you suggest?
So I have a amber that's actually, I thought it was going to come out today, but we haven't quite cleared the tap for it yet. But it's called Tan Lines. It's an American amber. You would like it. If you like Yingling, it's like very similar in color. It's a little bit heavier, but like just a wee bit, but still a very drinkable beer. Nothing offensive about it. So yeah.
That'll be mine.
How much competition is there locally among the craft breweries?
So Ocean Springs is up to a whopping 3 breweries, which, like I said, back in the day, we had the one. And so, we've got a little bit of competition, but still plenty of beer to share the love. Like I said, I'm good friends with all the guys that run breweries in town. And then we have Fly Llama and Chandelier over in Biloxi and Gulfport, and all of the brewers from both those breweries are like, I would go to bat for them in any situation. So
that's cool to hear.
That's
there's
awesome,
a little competition, but like today we're having the festival. Fly Llama's having a crawfish boil, and Chandelier's doing something over there. So it's not like any of us are out for each other's throats, but we're all just spreading the love.
Yeah.
Love it, man.
So tell us a bit about yourself, other than what do you like to do in your free time as far as
Oh man. What do I like to do?
He's a mad scientist, man.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I brew beer about 80 to 90 hours a week.
So most of it's beer brewing.
I enjoy kiteboarding in my free time. Shout out to East Beach and, getting out there on the water. I love heading out to the islands, going fishing.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything
outdoors.
Anything outdoors, and anything you can have a beer in your hand while you do it.
I like it. I like it. It always enhances the activities.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've been trying to get out. I get out and exercise and stuff, and that's been, I go to the gym, but I'll try to do, as far as cardio, I try to ride my bike and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm so busy, it's hard every time.
Yeah, I know. I'm so lucky. I ended up getting a place downtown right when I moved down here.
Oh.
And I ride my bike like everywhere. My car has stayed in my driveway for like a month and a half now. I don't even know where the keys are. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But to be able to be right? Like to be able to be in a place where I can legit like walk out my door, ride my bike to work, hang out for as long as I want, ride it back. Like I couldn't ask for more,
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and it's great. I mean, that's again one of the things that makes this community so great is that you've got this sort of pedestrian access in the town, and a lot of cities are redesigning cities so they can take advantage of that, and that's something I think people kind of take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't hear. Did you say where your family is?
My family does not live here. They live down in Belize, Central America.
Is that where Machu Picchu is?
Close. There's other Mayan ruins there. It's not Machu Picchu though.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a bucket list to go see that place.
Yeah, I think Machu Picchu's in Guatemala.
Is it?
It's either Guatemala or Honduras, but I could be totally wrong.
Peru, maybe?
Somebody comment and
Might be
tell
Peru.
us. so I don't look like an asshole.
Yeah, we'll get ripped. We'll get ripped to pieces in the comments.
We just say every country from like Mexico down, and don't hit it somehow.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted you to mention that because you go over there and you experience a different culture, and I think that you can bring that back in what you do.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's where like the inspiration for the taco bar came from. Like right when I got out of college, I was like looking around what to do. So this is a really random side note. I actually have celiac, and I found out like basically like my junior year of college and had this horrible existential crisis where I was like, I've dedicated like the last 6 years of my life to brewing beer, and now I'm not supposed to drink it. I'm not supposed to do anything, you know, not supposed to be around malt. So I was like,
what is, I'm so sorry. What is that?
Celiac is a gluten intolerance.
Oh, okay.
Basically means I'm allergic to wheat, barley, rye.
I see.
Everything
okay.
you use.
Yeah, basically everything that's in all my delicious beers.
Man.
So how do you get around that?
I drink very small amounts of the beers, and that's the only like gluten that I intake. I don't do bread. I don't do like.
So you just deal with it, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, basically, like.
Is that an issue more with the pancreas, the liver? Like, what is?
It's more like your small intestine, I believe.
Okay,
You can form
got
like
it.
small like micro holes in them.
My mom's
It's not a great feeling. I'm not gonna lie, but like
Okay.
I find that like if I limit myself to like half a pint a day to a pint a day, I'm fine. If I go overboard, I'll pay for it. And, like,
Oh, man.
I'll sit there and be like, man, you really did yourself in this week. But
Well, I think that just underscores that it must be a passion endeavor. Because I mean, it's,
like I said, I just like didn't even know what to do with myself for like a whole like 2 years. Like I stopped brewing beer. I actually took the time and developed some really cool products. I made a lot of alcoholic gluten-free beers. So I did alcoholic ginger beer. I did a beet beer, a turmeric beer. I was using they were basically all alcoholic root beers.
You say a beet beer?
Beet beer, yeah.
Dwight Schrute would
Dude,
appreciate
I
it.
don't know what to think
I
about
called
that.
it Schrute Farms beet beer.
Did you?
Yeah.
My man, I love it.
yeah.
Well done.
No, it was a great time. It was beets, smoked pecan, and ginger, and 8%, but drank like it was about 4.5, and it was a good time. Yeah. I got to bring that one back at the brewery sometime soon. But the problem is anything with beets stains everything, as I'm sure you guys know.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome, man.
But yeah,
What a great
so
story.
I got through that little bout with existentialism and celiac, and got back to it. But at some point in that journey, I was like, man, I'm just gonna move to Belize and open a taco bar. And I got so into cooking tacos. I mean, I was like digging holes in my backyard and like smoking meats in them like they do down in like the Yucatan, just to like try things out. And I had this huge appreciation for like that style of food.
Hold on. What would you call it when you don't know where you're going or what to do? What's a word for that?
I'd call it getting lost.
Are you on Facebook
We're on
and
Facebook.
Instagram?
We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter, although I don't think I've made my first tweet. But if Elon Musk buys it, I'll start tweeting.
Cool.
Because I hear
And you can say whatever you want.
I hear that your company's relation to Elon Musk is like how you make money. So we'll get on there eventually.
Yeah.
But no, you can find us on Instagram, on Facebook. We post about all of our weekly releases.
What are the handles?
Yeah, what are they?
What are the handles? Lost Spring Brewing Co.
Okay.
Yeah, on both of those.
Okay.
Just Lost Spring Brewing Co. Like I said, we keep everything up to date on there. Everything with the taco bar going on. Whenever we release some new tacos, we'll put it on there. Any
And
events like we're doing today.
And
Merchandise, hell yeah. That's totally not the worst word that I've heard since COVID started. Merchandise. Woo!
How do I get one of the?
Really cool.